Welcome, everybody, to the event Awakening to the Soul Code of Your Life Purpose. We have Georgette Starr joining us today. And Georgette is the founder of the Life Blessing Institute. She is a transformational coach, trainer, spiritual guide, and heart-centered community leader. So welcome, Georgette.
Thank you very much, Julie, and everybody. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yay, I'm happy to talk with you again. Some of you may recognize Georgette possibly. She actually interviewed me for a summit she did, a client breakthrough summit. So it's nice to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
So tell us, where would you like to bring us today?
Well, I'd like to begin with just talking about why having a sense of purpose can be so helpful.
Sounds
How does that sound?
A lot of people did the numbers. You had the soul code number. Is that what it is called? The soul code. And it was fun to see what everybody's numbers are and to kind of understand from you, to learn from you what that means.
Yes, well, I'm excited to share. And I'd like to begin by just talking a little bit about why like a purpose alignment or awareness can be so very helpful. So as you know, as we all know, the effects of all the global challenges that are sweeping through our lives kind of cause us to be a little bit more conscious about our life being precious and brief in the scope of things. And we may be asking ourselves even more so than before, those deep questions like the who am I and why am I here and what am I to do? And just being a highly sensitive person, most of us are just naturally more introspective. So there's this sense of this bigger picture of why purpose is important, more important now to be aware of. I also find that purpose awareness and really being aligned with that purpose can empower us to really access our deepest, kind of the soul deep motivation to contribute in a way that is also truly authentic and that can help us to really stay in our lane, focused on what we're here to be and to do. I also find that purpose awareness makes it possible to really acknowledge our own unique natural abilities and gifts so we can kind of play to our strengths, delegate what we're not good at, or at least have a little bit more self-acceptance in the areas that are not our expertise. And I have found just in my own journey and being on the journey with others for over 30 years on the path of awakening and healing, that having this sense of purpose can also be like a North Star to guide our choices. And I notice that things just seem to work better and flow better when my actions are emanating from that authentic place of just really knowing what's mine to do and in the way that's right for me. So in general, I just like to say that purpose is kind of like that thing that gives our life the most meaning, so we can prioritize and make choices and lean into our potential in a way that's really fulfilling, even if it isn't always easy.
That's going to resonate with a lot of HSPs, I think there's just something inside of us that's like we feel a calling, and it's often a calling to help others in some way or to make the world a better place in some way. So I think it's going to be great that you're talking about this.
Yes, and you're a beautiful living role model and example of a human being who's prioritized a focus, like you found your lane, right? And you're directing your energies and attention, and it really helps you to discern where the path you take through every day. And I find that really helpful, especially for highly sensitive people, because we're so overstimulated and have such a big desire to contribute and often feel like maybe we should be doing something else or something different or something better, or there's that tendency. And having purpose alignment just helps us to really stay focused. And so thank you for
It like
being that for us.
increases your energy too, doesn't it? It's like when I mean, it took me a while to get into the path that I am right now. And it was like, as soon as I was really became an authentic person, I was like, everything fell together. It was really a beautiful process. And I know a lot of HSPs are kind of seeking that as well.
Yeah. So may I share my screen with you, Julie, and everybody?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Yes, I have prepared a special visual presentation for you and your wonderful community. So let me take a minute here to share my screen. And see if I can pull it up here. Okay, here we go. So, awakening to the soul code of your life purpose. And I'm just going to flow through this PowerPoint with you. And I'd like to begin by just really just inviting you, if you haven't already done so, to go ahead and get your number that Julie provided on the link. And if it's not possible to do that now, that's fine, because I will be giving you access to not only that calculator, but an assessment, an online assessment to follow up after our session today. So
Wonderful. Would you like people to put their numbers into the chat?
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I'm not able to see the chat, but that's a great way to just share a little bit with each other. So I would love that. Love that. Yeah, so what does it mean to awaken to the soul code of life purpose? Well, let's kind of back up again by, first of all, talking about archetypes. And as you probably know, an archetype is a typical character, a situation, an action that seems to represent a universal principle or a pattern in human nature, and is often described as a universal symbol. So the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you found out why. In the system that I'm about to share with you, purpose archetypes are described or symbolized by numbers, typically the numbers 1 through 9, and they represent 9 realms of human development. So we're going to look at those 9 realms plus a couple master numbers, so 11 and 22. The system translates information from every individual's full name at birth and birth date into numbers and to a specific soul code for every individual. So as I share this information with you as it unfolds, I want you to keep in mind that life purpose is only one facet of the multifaceted jewel of you. And in fact, every one of us simultaneously throughout every day are in some way learning and continuing to evolve and develop on each of these 9 pathways. So even though there's one number that represents the soul code of your purpose, you're always going to be evolving more or less degrees on all the 9 pathways. So I want to back up again and introduce you to my mom. This is Grandmother Shirley, or as my friends call her, or called her, Mother Love.
What a sweet photo.
Yes. And she is now an angelic presence that shines through this presentation, that shines through this information I'm sharing with you, that shines through me and into you. And I was so blessed as a child to grow up in a family that were asking these deep questions, you know, the who am I, why am I here, what am I to do? My mom met a woman at a swim center when she was 15, and this woman became my godmother. Her name was Jane, and Jane taught my mom the system, this mapping system, and then I just kind of absorbed it, being in the field basically of these conversations where they're looking at the soul maps of friends and family and relatives throughout my childhood. And then eventually, you know, she became my teacher. And I always like to acknowledge the great mystery of how something that is valuable and true, it's passed along through the generations.
Yeah.
And the way it surfaces is so fascinating.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so mother love. This ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras is actually given credit for the fundamentals of this mapping system because he lived in a period of time where information was being recorded. And so, but it's understood that this mapping system is so ancient. We don't really know where it originated, possibly ancient India, but he was given credit for it. And as most of us know, Pythagoras is still, to this day, considered to be the father of mathematics or geometry. And he taught that numbers, he taught a holistic system. So he taught that numbers can be used to calculate and create things in the physical world, but also the metaphysical dimension, that these numbers, excuse me, the essential numbers 1 through 9 represent these realms of human development. So I also like to just always begin a presentation like this or share this information by saying that maps and structures are really grounding. They're very helpful. They help us to really have a sense of orientation and kind of get our feet on the ground and kind of get a sense of direction of where we're going, but that no map is the actual territory. And so the information I'm going to be sharing with you today can only serve as a pointer to a deeper understanding of our unique human operating system and gifts. But there's always a deeper truth to discover. So during this time together, I really want to invite everyone to really tap into your innate sense of inspired purpose, your sense of dharma, your sense of mission or gift to contribute. And because there's a way that you can access that directly. And then, of course, with any mapping system, it's the navigator's skill that makes it possible to read the map. So there's also like a skillful process of learning how to read our own internal sense of purpose and guidance. And Julie, you kind of alluded to that with the journey it took for you to get to the place where you feel like you're now on purpose. And that was a journey, right, of discovery and following different pathways and finally, really getting your compass.
Yes. Listening to that inner knowing.
Yes. So I like to talk about the self or the true self, our true self, true nature, as this bright shining light that's pure intelligence, pure love, pure presence, pure awareness. And that this light of you is shining through a jewel, and the jewel is also you. So the light shining through the jewel of you. And this jewel is the structure, it's multifaceted structure. And this is your human operating system. And it includes many, many facets, including purpose, which is one of the facets, but all the unique capacities and interests and natural abilities and needs for fulfillment. All of these can be described by the soul code. And in fact, every one of us is completely unique as a snowflake. And I really like to kind of dwell upon that beautiful image of the snowflake and the sense of each individual being so incredibly unique, here for a very unique and specific purpose. Mm-hmm. Because so often, once again, we look around us and we see what others are doing or expressing and can get a little overstimulated and overwhelmed, and sometimes kind of go off the path of what's actually only uniquely ours to do and to be. So we're all unique. This little grid is a visual presentation of the principles that are related to the 9 pathways of the soul or human development. So number 1 is the path of leadership. Number 2 is the path of partnership. Number 3, the path of expression. Number 4, the path of foundation. The 5 is the path of progress. The 6 is the path of intimacy. 7 is the path of meaning. 8 is the path of manifestation, and 9, contribution. So I just made this image for everybody. I find there's something very grounding about having a visual to a concept. And so I just wanted to share how these 9 pathways and 9 numbers can be translated into life purpose expression. So the number 1 would be the leader. The number 2 would be the peacemaker. Number 3 is the artist. Number 4 is the builder. 5 is a change agent. 6 is the care provider. 7 is the scientist mystic. 8 is the manifester. And 9 is the healer. So as I mentioned, we're all growing and evolving and developing on all of these 9 realms every day of our lives to some or less extent. But only one of the numbers of your soul code is the pointer to the essence of your life purpose, according to this mapping system. So very soon I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about each of the numbers, so you can just tune in and see what resonates about it for you. But as I do, I also want to invite you to just kind of intuitively sense which one of these pathways are you most actively tuning into, evolving, learning, maybe even being challenged by right now. And what I love about one of the many things I love about the system is it's in a sense, it takes so much of the personal out of it, and it helps us to see that there's a transpersonal element to this life that we're living and the development that we're in. And so, for example, if we're on, let's say, the pathway number 4, and we're learning about how to be a builder, how to create structure and foundation, and we're being challenged with that in our lives, like it's hard to be organized. And so it's helpful to tend to step back and realize, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. That's not a problem. It's just a natural part of my development on this pathway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very interesting. So these are correlated with the numbers that we got from taking that that you shared with us. And we have a couple people that had the number 11. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm going to go through all of the 9 plus 11 and 22 in just a minute.
Okay, wonderful.
So 11 and 22 are master numbers, but really they're like an octave related to the pathway peacemaker, which is 11. So 2, 11, and then 4 is the builder, and then the master builder is 22. So I'll go through all of those in a minute. Good questions. Excellent questions. Wonderful. Okay. So yes, let's tune into the number 1.
That's Tina. Looks like got a number 1.
Wonderful.
It's fun to see.
I want to say one more thing about purpose. Because of the time and culture that we live in, there's such a emphasis on the manifestation part of creation, of the doing, of like life purpose as a career path. And it seems the orientation seems to be about, my purpose is about what I'm doing. And but life purpose actually has a dual function, and the being aspect of it is maybe more potent than the doing. And the being aspect of your life purpose is, it's like you as a human operating system are a radio station. And there's a particular frequency that's shining through you at all the time. So if your life purpose is the number 1, the frequency of that energy is shining through you all the time, 24/7, whether you're doing or not doing anything. And the more you are like centered in your own self, the brighter that emanation will be. And so in a sense, there's nothing that we have to do in order to be in alignment with purpose. It's more of like a gentle process of actually relaxing into what's already here and then just shining that. And one of the challenges about these archetypal influences and these aspects of ourselves is they feel so natural to us that we can't even see them. They just seem like, well, that's just, isn't everybody like that? Yeah. But no, it's not like that. So for the purpose of our sharing today, I wanted to emphasize the being aspect of purpose, because I really do feel, and maybe this is just my own experience as a highly sensitive person, but once again, I can become overly identified with the doing aspect. And when I do become overly identified with what I'm here to do, there's a feeling of it's stressful. It's like an over identification with, oh, I have to fulfill my purpose through some action constantly. And that feels overwhelming to my body and to my body mind. And um, when I lean back into the essence of purpose and shine forth from there, knowing I'm already in alignment with purpose, then those actions are just so much more organic and much more relaxed as I move into them or as I create them. Is that making sense to you,
Totally.
Julie?
I'm imagining, like when you were talking about that, I'm imagining when we're in a place of we should, for example, there's a constriction with that. And if we're in a place of being, like you're describing, there's an openness to that. It's like the energy opens.
Absolutely. Yes. And, being an expert in you, Julie, being an expert in supporting and empowering others to embrace their high sensitivity, like this feels like a really important part of your gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Inviting us back into that more essential quiet place inside.
Yes. And things
That's
open and
true.
creativity flows. And it's like, it's the place that feels good.
Absolutely. So, um, if anyone does follow up and actually go to my site and take the life purpose assessment, you'll get a whole handout that'll have much more information for the linear side of your brain that wants information about each of these archetypes, or actually about your life purpose archetype. But for today, I want to just tune into the essence. So let's begin with number one. And I should also say that on some level, we all actually already know what these archetypes mean. So, for example, when you look at that number and just tune into what you know about the number one, there are going to be natural associations that come up with it. Like, I will be the one, the beginning, the first, initiation. Like, there's natural associations, and all of those natural associations are related to this pathway of human development. Another example would be the number two. If you think about the number two, just what are the associations? You think of two, it's like any two, it's partners. And what's necessary for partnership to work? And then we can kind of start to think, oh, partnerships require some skills. And that's the path of peacemaking on number two. So just wanted to invite you to know that because these are universal human archetypes, we already all know what they are. So I'm just kind of bringing something to your attention that you already know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the number one is if your life purpose number is one, then you are here to radiate the energy of innovation, of action, and of leadership. So just take a moment to, just take in that little nutshell. You are here to radiate the energy of innovation, action, and leadership.
Okay, Tina, you got that? She had a one in our group.
Yes, and once again, we have to always keep in mind that this is one facet of the jewel, right? So there's many other facets to the jewel. And if we had more time, we could go into more of the facets. And maybe sometime, Julie, you and I will have that opportunity. I would love to give you a more complete reading of your soul code. But for now, we're going to just stay with life purpose.
Yeah, we have more than one as an 8 in this group, actually.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. So the number one, a good affirmation to just realign is like an activation statement would be, I know who I am and I take action. Number 2, if your life purpose is the archetypal number 2, then you are here to radiate the energy of partnership, of peacemaking, of balancing polarities, and of deep receptivity. So this is the peacemaker. You're here to radiate the energy of partnership, peacemaking, balancing polarities, and deep receptivity. When I am at peace, so are we. And here is that higher octave of the number 2, the peacemaker. If number 11 is your life purpose archetype, you're here to radiate everything that the 2 is, the peacemaking energy of the 2. But also, when really grounded, there's a capacity to become like this lighthouse, to radiate as a conduit for inspiration. I am a conduit for inspiration.
Interesting. We got Bridget and Cecilia are both 11s.
Oh, wonderful. Some inspired messengers in your community. Number 3, if your life purpose archetype or number is 3, then as the artist of life, you are here to emanate or radiate the energy of creative expression, wonder, play.
Love it. We've got, are we on number 3? We've got Lisa.
Yes, play, any form of creative self-expression, but unlimited by any conventional form. All life is creative expression, all the way to the art of living. And the affirmation or power statement, alignment statement is, giving birth to my creations brings joy. Number 4. So once again, just tune into that archetype. Like what's, if you think of the 4 as a geometric shape, it would be a square or a rectangle. And when you tune into that shape, that number, what are some of the natural associations? This is the archetype of the builder. And if your life purpose archetype is 4, then you are here to radiate the energy of deep, deep, profound, sacred ground, unconditional stability, structure, and devotion.
Okay, Lincoln's a 4.
Yeah, so this is a Native American goddess archetype. She's called Spider Woman, and she's weaving the patterns that create the structure for beauty to land. And this is, an expression of the stability of the devotion of this being who, just his very existence, the Dalai Lama's existence on the planet, it includes what he does, but his very presence, his being, creates stability for all the Tibetan people. So number 4, with dedication, I create a solid foundation. It's the power statement. Number 4 has a master number element or capacity. So if your life purpose archetype is 22, you also radiate all the energies of the builder of the number 4. And when you are grounded, have the capacity to expand into what I'm going to just say a global perspective of possibility. The 22s are the master builders. I dream big. So if number 5 is your life purpose, you are here to radiate the energy of freedom, of adventure, of breakthrough, of willingness to change.
Monita has that one, number 5.
Oh, the love of the adventure, of trying something new, of trying everything at least once, and to keep moving. I am free to explore and to change. And of course, as a life purpose, this would be the change agent. Pathway 6, if this is your life purpose number, you are here to radiate the energy of human kindness, compassion, relational sensitivity, deep care. This is a photograph of me and my granddaughter that I'm looking at when I had the amazing opportunity to bring her into a program that I developed for girls, that in the beginning, I didn't even imagine that I would have a granddaughter to have this experience with. And so much love.
Oh, that's beautiful. We've got Robbie and Marsha and number 6.
Ah, yes, the care providers, the cosmic mothers and fathers. So it's all about love. I care for myself and others. Number 7, if your life purpose number is 7, you are here to radiate the energy of invitation to look beneath the surface. Depth, stillness, curiosity, observation, and also spiritual awakening.
We got 3 people in the 7, Jill, Gaynor, and Sandy.
As I turn within, I'm inspired in the stillness. All right, number 8, Julie, this is your life purpose archetype, you told me.
Me,
and,
Becca, and Larissa, we all have this one.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So once again, one facet of the multifaceted jewel, but in this facet of your expression, you are actually really here to access infinite abundance, the consciousness of infinite abundance, the ability to bring your ideas from concept into reality, into manifestation. This is the life purpose archetype of manifestation, the manifester. And it is also, it's not only as an emanation, Julie, it's not only what you came here to express. So for example, just our being here today in this virtual platform, in a community that you're serving, a large community of wonderful beings online, it's like you brought your soul into the marketplace and you're bringing light into the marketplace. And that is the essence of this life purpose, is to bring that mission, that sense of what brings you love and fulfillment into the world.
Wow, that's wonderful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and empowerment is also part of that. So one of your gifts is actually to empower others to find their happiness and peace of mind in daily living.
Wow, how neat. Because my community is called Sensitive Empowerment.
Oh, gosh. How perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so that's the number 8. And I have to say, we want to embrace every aspect of creation in our hearts, including money. It's not separate. And the manifestation, this archetype of the number 8 includes the flow of energy through the exchange of money. And we want to bless that and release any negative associations and just recognize that it's part of accessing that infinite consciousness of abundance. And that's part of what we're all here to learn how to do.
Larissa, that's kind of neat. She has the word empower in her business name, and she's also an 8.
Oh, yes. Oh, wonderful. So the world receives my gifts and reflects them back. And that's the empowerment, right? There's an expectation that I give my gifts and the world reflects them back. And that is the exchange of energy on this pathway of the soul.
I just saw Robbie's comment. You do that all the time, Julie. Thank you. That's beautiful.
You do. I haven't had the opportunity to know you very long, Julie, but I always feel that compassionate empowerment in all your communications.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so this is the last of the pathways of the soul. And if you imagine the numbers 1 through 9, after that, every number is a replication, right? The numbers just are repeating themselves. So it's the culminating number, and it's the culminating life purpose or life pathway of the soul. So if number 9 is your life purpose number, um, you are here to radiate the energy of unity consciousness. So there's a capacity there to embrace. It's like the whole world is right there in your heart. And because you recognize on some level, or are learning to recognize and experience that everyone and everything is a part of you, nothing is cast out, all is embraced and included. And this is an incredibly healing power and presence. So 9 is the archetype of the healer, and you're here to radiate the energy of unity consciousness. And here's just some examples, a few examples of human beings who had that capacity to see the one in all. And we all are developing this capacity. So in the spirit of our interconnectivity, I give freely and unconditionally. That is the 9 pathways of the soul. So we have gone through that really quickly, but I hope that through your own intuitive assessment, that you have been able to pick up something that touches you about your own sense of purpose. And I am going to stop my screen share now, if that's all right. There we go.
Yes, and we just have a few minutes left before you need to go. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure that you shared with us?
Yes, let's see. Let me stop my PowerPoint here too. Yeah, I did have a couple more things to say that I would like to share about why it's important for us as highly sensitive people to attune. And I kind of mentioned this already, Julie, but I have noticed that sometimes I find it challenging to maintain a self-containment and focus. I can easily blend and merge and be influenced by the energy, emotions, beliefs, behaviors of others. And this can sometimes create some confusion about what is mine to be and to do, which can lead to that comparison gremlin, and then the feelings of inadequacy and self-criticism. It takes me away from my purpose. So when I use my attunement, my purpose awareness as a tool to help refocus, it brings me right back into my lane whenever I notice. So I just wanted to encourage everyone to, for us all, to reorient and recommit to our essential sense of purpose, knowing that we're already contributing the energy of our gift simply by being ourselves. And what we're doing is frosting on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I was thinking about what you were saying about the merging and in so many ways and I think as sensitive people, we definitely have that experience of merging into other people's energy, and then we lose what ours are. And the more that we can connect to that place, it's so fascinating, because I've only really been able to do that successfully well over the past few years. And it's like things are so clear, and you feel so certain about things when you can connect to that and separate that, right? It's such an interesting thing. And we've got some questions about, so people are asking how can they get more information about their soul code number. If you
could well, thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. I have a life purpose assessment that's free. It's on my website, and the website is lifeblessing.com. And it's just one of the items in the menu bar. And I know, Julie, you're going to add a link somewhere when the recording becomes available. But I would love anyone who wants to get their hand out to go ahead and get the assessment and And then, of course, you'll be included on my email list. And of course, you can choose to stay on that or unsubscribe, but that's the way to start to connect with me more and learn more how you might be able to discover more about your soul code, as well as my main emphasis right now is training practitioners to use this system, this mapping system, with their clients.
Very interesting. Yes, I'll definitely be putting all those links into our replay, and that'll be in our HSP library. So people will be, HSPs will get a chance to watch this replay and check everything out, what you've been saying, and share and check out your website and all the neat things that you're doing. It's very interesting. I love it. Anything else, Georgette, you wanted to share?
Just a moment of appreciation for the highly sensitive beings that are gathered here and in your community and in the world. And I just kind of feel so blessed to have that degree of sensitivity and to be able to, share my gifts with others who can receive it with such open hearts. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, that's beautiful. And you're a great example of following your calling and in so doing, helping a lot of people in the world. And how kind of amazing to be helping practitioners, because I just imagine like, wow, all the people that just like spreads out into the pay it forward, that I'm really into that idea of pay it forward, because one person can make such a difference in the world, and you're doing that. So I'm glad that you and I got a chance to connect and get to know each other a little bit. And I know my community must have found, I've got some comments going on and people found it very interesting and beautiful. I love it. Thank you for sharing your gifts, Georgette and Julie, Becca says.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here and for participating. And Georgette, this was so interesting, and it's going to be interesting to learn more about it. But I definitely thank you for what you're doing in the world. Thank you for sharing what you're doing in the world with us and taking a little time to do that with us, and really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
We got so many thank yous going through. I love it. Lots of people said it was helpful. And thank you, everybody. It's such a loving community. So we really appreciate how loving you guys are too. And this has just been a nice time together. So thank you. And everybody take good care of yourselves out there. And I will be putting all the links that you want to have into the replay. Okay. So thank you, Georgette.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Julie.
Yeah. Take good care of everybody. Bye-bye.